Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing clue number 11 of Sundae Stars, the paper piece mystery quilt. Before we get started today, I just wanted to bring you along. It has been such a super busy week. I wanted to give you a Rudy update. Many of you know that Rudy was attacked by some hunting dogs several months ago. His tail feathers have grown back, y'all. He is doing so good. He is such a good boy. He really looks after everybody. Our peach tree is coming along. Several of you told me we should remove the peaches off the peach tree. I just can't bring myself to do it though. Look how pretty they look. The chickens are loving the change of weather. The grass is really greening up. Everything is looking so pretty. Just to let you know, I filmed this today and it has been so windy. You're going to hear lots of wind throughout my tutorial today. I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize the wind was so loud in the microphone, so prepare yourself. Our garden is coming along. Y'all, we tasted our lettuce that you see right here. It's beautiful, but it tastes horrible. It is so bitter. We're hoping that as it matures and grows, some of the bitterness goes away. I hope so. Our potatoes are coming along. Doesn't that look great? Our bees are doing fantastic. If you look close enough, you can see them going in and out. They're just as busy as a bee, and they're busy making honey. And next year we'll be able to have some of that honey. They're just working away, working away. Our grapes are growing. I showed y'all the grapes a couple weeks ago. They're getting bigger. And on the inside of the house, y'all, I think I've decided to do a sourdough. Have you done sourdough? Here's the future home of Sir Breadsalot. I haven't started yet. I'm a little intimidated. Anyway, it's on the fence. I have a home for it, and keep an eye out for that coming really soon. Wish me luck with my new sourdough starter. All right, let's go ahead and get started with clue number 11. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Lisa with Lisa Capen Quilts, and we are in week 11. Can you hardly believe it? Now, just a little disclaimer. I have seen my hair blowing in the wind. I have my windows open. I have big doors on both sides of my studio here, and it is so nice outside. I have the doors open. Things are gonna blow around. You're gonna hear outside noise like the neighbor diagonally across from us is cutting his grass today. It's kind of relaxing sound. I hope it's not annoying, but you're gonna hear that. You'll probably hear chickens in the background. Who knows what you're gonna hear? So I apologize for background noise as we get started. How are you doing on this quilt? Look, there goes May May. I have a confession. Like, you can start to see my little containers building up. I have clue 9 and clue 10 in progress, but I need to catch up, y'all. And this week we're going to do quite a bit of sewing too. So am I the only one who is still working on clues 9 and 10 as we approach week 11? I need a good, just solid day of nothing but sewing on this quilt. And doesn't that just sound lovely? Like, to me, that sounds like the ideal day. All right, everybody, are you ready to come down and take a look at what we're doing this week? Let's take a look. See, now I almost moved right past it, but I like to show you the quilt update and the progress that we've made so far. So I don't want to skip past that. I'm glad I remembered. So before we move on, let me pull up on the screen our progress so far. She's coming along, isn't she? So this week we're starting to make progress on the 24 sashing pieces that go the opposite direction, right? Do you see that one little lonely piece? Isn't she starting to come together nicely? Let me show you an update of what clue number 11 is. So right here is the little sashing piece that we're starting. See that empty gray space? that's the sashing piece. It's going to look just like the ones we've already put together, going the opposite direction, right? We're starting in the little corner down here, and we're going to just fit in sashing pieces until we get them all done. Now the other part of clue number 11 is the little flying geese unit that starts to make this star within a star block. Do you see that? We're not only making I think it's 12 of them. We'll see here in a second, just to remind myself. The little flying geese units, and then we're attaching it to 2 previous clues. What do you think about that? We're making a lot of progress, aren't we? Okay, so now, now let's go down and look at all of our stuff and information for clue number 11. Hi, Maymay. Maymay's come in to join me. Okay, before we dive into looking at the clue 11 stuff, right, I wanted to revisit clue number 10. Now, y'all saw me at the end of clue number 10, we assembled one sashing unit together, right? And I took a measurement of it. And when I did, I don't know if you noticed my face or not, but I had this puzzled look because mine measured 11.25, right? 11 and a quarter. Ooh, pages are blowing everywhere. 11 and a quarter. And I knew that that was not right. And if you're on Facebook and if you're on the Creative Crew, I made a post shortly after the premiere of last week's video. Oh, Ashley Nugget wants to come in. Let me go let him in. Do you hear him? Ashley Nugget. Okay, so it turns out he didn't want to come in. He was just saying hi through the door. Okay, let me get back to this. And I think I said the measurement wrong just a second ago. When I measured this at the end of last week's video, it only came to 12 and a quarter inches long, right? And I knew that wasn't right because it's supposed to be 12 and a half inches. And I made a post about it on the Creative Crew Facebook, so you already might know this. But what I realized is once I took all the paper off and I repressed this, the paper was acting as such a huge stabilizer on this one piece, and I had pressed it with my iron several times, and I think it just locked in and shrunk that paper a little bit. So with the paper on, I was unable to get the true measurement. But once I took the paper off and I repressed it, this sashing piece should measure 12 and a half inches from left to right. Okay, so just double check your sashing. If it's measuring short, you might have to do what I had to do and remove the paper from the back side and repress it, right? And once I did, the bow came out of it. It's nice and straight now. And I think I used too high of a heat, and the newsprint paper probably can't handle that heat, and it shrunk up and bowed my piece. Remember I said it's a little bowed? So if you're having those issues, you might need to remove the paper and repress them. We need these pieces to be 12 and a half inches in order to join 2 blocks on either side, right here and here. Those blocks are going to measure 12 and a half inches right there. So we need our sashing to be the same. All right, so there's that. I didn't want to go by this week without revisiting this. And yeah, I still have a lot left to put together, but I've made really good progress. Okay, now let's dive into week 11. Okay, here is our paper, the instruction download, right? And you're going to notice right here, it says this week you would need 12 sections from clue 6 that look like this. So here's my 12 pieces from clue number 6, and they look just like that, right? And then you're also going to need the 12 sections from clue 4 that look like this. It's a flying geese unit with 2 squares on either side, and there that unit is from clue number 4. You're going to grab those out of your bin, you're going to set them aside until you're done with the paper piecing portion for clue number 11, right? So let me just set those aside. See, the wind's just blowing all my stuff around, but it feels so good in here today. All right, this week we are going to be paper piecing 12 flying geese units. Here's the flying geese units. And we're also going to be paper piecing 24 sashing units. And that's what they look like right there. So we don't have any cutting and pasting of our pieces to do this week. They're small pieces, so I'm hoping they go by pretty quick. But there's 24 sashing pieces, and there are going to be 12 flying geese units. The foundation PDF, you're going to print 2 copies, right? And so you'll end up with 12 of these and 24 of those. I still haven't cut them out yet. The colors we're using this week are the dark pink, the brown, and the background colors. And I go through and tell you, if you're not cutting from scraps, right, if you're just cutting from yardage, how many strips you need and how wide to cut your strips. And this week, since there are so many templates, what I did is the ones that are red go to your sashing unit, and the ones that have the black letters, that's going to go to your flying geese units. Okay? Not a whole lot of cutting out this week. You might be able to use pieces that you had left over from previous clues. So let me go cut out some of these. We're going to go through piecing together a flying geese unit. Do y'all need to see me do this? We've done this unit 2 other times already. So I think for the sake of saving some time this week and getting you on your way sewing, we've done this unit 2 other times. So I'm going to hold off. We're not going to piece this together if you're just joining in, like this is your very first video. You'll go through all the clues. You will see this unit 2 other times getting sewn together. We're going to piece this unit, and this unit we're not doing anything with, right? So it's just you make 24 and put them in your bin and save them. There's nothing to connect this to yet, but this unit we can join with 2 previous clues. So let's do that today. That sounds fun. Okay, here we are with our little foundation. This week we're gonna, the order that I have them in is 1, 2, and 3. Don't blow away little fabric pieces. And we're gonna go ahead and start with piece number 1 right in the middle. We're gonna lay that down right over top. And we're just rubbing that fabric right in the glue. Only I tell you, it is so nice out today. I wish every day were like this. It's just so pretty. All right, let's take a look. On the back side, you see that the fabric extends well beyond all of those sewing lines, or those 2 sewing lines, right? So when I place them, I'm going to back away from that sewing line just a little bit. And I guess it really doesn't matter if you start on side 2 or 3, they're both exactly the same, right? So on both sides, the long side of the triangle is adjoining to that middle piece of fabric, right? So it goes like this with the right side facing up, and then flip it right on over. And see what I mean by backing away from the very raw edge of the fabric? There was plenty there, so I can back away just a little bit. We're gonna come sew that, and let me just anchor down that piece of fabric so it doesn't fly away. Oh, that feels so good, just a breeze blowing. Okay, coming back over here, we're going to just trim away the extra bits of fabric. Add a smidgen of glue right there. I've been trying to pay real close attention where I put my glue. Since I noticed that I was gluing into that seam allowance, and it makes it a little bit harder to remove the paper in the seam allowance after you join your pieces, and I realized that. Okay. So then our right side for piece number 3 is up, and we're flipping it. And let's sew that seam. We'll come back over here, flip up the paper. I am halfway done on filming a video for a paper piece table runner that spells out the word home. For those of you on Patreon, you've already gotten the pattern for it. I'm halfway done with the video on that. I'm going to tell you, I have been, as soon as I start a big quilt project like this, I just get inundated with stuff to do, and there just never seems to be enough time in the day. All right, we're going to add a little bit of glue, but that table runner is so pretty. And if you've really gotten into the paper piecing, right, I think you're going to love doing that table runner. It's a lot less pieces than this quilt. Okay, so there is our wonky looking little flying goose unit, but we're gonna go ahead and clean up the edges. And guess what? I can remove my little cutting mat, because guess what I got in last Friday afternoon? I ordered the round rotating cutting mat for my caterpillar. Actually, you don't even have to have a caterpillar to use this. I mean, I can see where it would be helpful to have the lighted background, right, for certain projects. But you could use this just right on your table. It has ball bearings and it just rotates like this. It's going to shake my camera for my sewing machine because that's actually on this table. But yes, I can't wait to square up lots of little pieces. I think it's going to make it so much faster. And I need to grab my ruler. Okay, here we go. We're just squaring up these units. Look at that. I'm in such a habit of turning the pieces. That'll have to be something that I get used to. Actually, for these tiny pieces, it's kind of redundant to use this swivel mat because they're so little and it just takes a little flick like this, right? But I just had to show y'all because I was too excited. Ta-da! Okay, so there is my pretty little flying geese unit. Now she's perfect. She's not wonky anymore. You need 12 of these units, right? You're going to paper piece 12 of those. I have all these little tidbits flying everywhere. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this off the screen. I'm going to bring in the other sections of what we're doing this week. I think it was 4 and 6, right? I'm going to bring those units back and we're going to join them. All right, I got them. So you have this unit here, clue number 4, And you have this unit here, clue number 6, I was right, 4 and 6. And then you have the units that we're paper piecing from clue number 11, right? So ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the screen straight, Lisa, is we're going to assemble this unit just like this, right? So after this week, this will be one whole unit, and down the way, if you haven't figured it out yet, we're going to have another clue that looks just like this, and this will make a complete center of a block, right? So the first thing we're going to do to assemble these 3 sections is we're going to turn down our flying geese unit, and I guess the main part to make sure that you have right is that all of the middle triangles need to come in to the point of this center square, right? Because it would be really easy to accidentally sew your pieces on like this, right? And then we have to pick them apart and redo them. So when you're sewing them, just make sure that that middle dark pink or whatever color you're using, that middle triangle is pointing towards that square in the middle, okay? We're going to start by flipping over the small little unit we pieced this week right over like this, and I'm going to be sewing right on that line. If you are removing the paper or doing your paper piecing without sewing through the paper, you're going to want to set a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You might even have to use a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance, right? I'll give you some finished measurements of this piece once it's together. Okay, let's come back over here, and I'm going to grab my little handy dandy Dollar Tree needle poker thing. And I'm just going to score that paper right there. And flip it over and score it right there and there. And just see how easy that paper comes out if you haven't added any glue. Y'all, I have been thinking about changing the name of my YouTube channel. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm not going to say the name that I've been thinking about yet because I'm undecided. I've been so back and forth about a couple of different names. But to include predominantly still staying a quilting channel, right? That's my passion. That's my jam. But there's so many other things that we enjoy doing, right? Like the making bread and getting ready to start sourdough for the very first time. And I'm going to make some citronella oil. I mean, all this fun stuff, right? That we all probably do or want to start doing or learn about. It just makes sense to kind of include that stuff too in my name. I don't know. Just to give you a heads up, it's coming. I'm not sure exactly when, but it's coming. So I've removed the paper from that seam. We're going to open it up, and I'm going to work that seam just a little bit, right? I'm hoping, because you know I've used the newsprint on all my clues, and after I join my pieces like this week, I give them a press with my iron. Y'all see me finger press with the glue as we go along, right? But once I join them, I give them a press And I'm hoping that that's not warping the paper and then I have to remove all the paper before I join them. I guess we will see. But I'm pretty sure, like I'm 99% sure that that's what happened with my sashing piece. Too high of a heat. Speaking of heat, let me turn the iron on, but I'm going to back the heat down a little bit. Let's try that. I usually have my iron on full blast. As hot as it gets, yes. But I just backed the heat down just a little bit. I don't want to warp my paper on this piece. I have to give it a second to warm up some. Okay, and I have to reach so far to get it. Quick press, let's do quick. All right, so there's the middle section. How perfect is that, right? Let's just take a measurement of this before we move on. Because now I'm a little paranoid. But it looks like the less heat worked because this section should measure 6.5 inches. And I'm good. All right, so if y'all have the problem with pressing your seams and your paper's warping, you know, this newsprint is super duper thin paper, y'all. Back the heat off of your iron a little bit. All right, now with this, it does not matter if you join it here or if you join it here. It's both the same. We just haven't gotten to the clue where we're making the second one of these, right? So I'm just going to bring it right down here. What is important, I say it's important, if you're really, really picky about your points meeting and all your stuff lining up, then what's going to be the focus when joining this piece to this piece is that this seam lines up here and this seam lines up here. Now the beauty part of it is the paper piecing kind of does all that for you, doesn't it? But it'll be one thing to watch as you flip over this piece and line it up, right? See how that seam comes down right there and that seam comes down right there. If you want to put some pins or some clips, that might be helpful. I'm just going to line it up like that and pay real close attention to it, and I'm sewing right on that line provided by the paper. Now one side is nesting for me, so that's kind of nice, but the side where I just pressed that seam open, it's harder to nest a seam when you press the seam open. So it doesn't really nest, but over here it's nesting for me, which kind of grabs and holds it in place, right? That's lovely. And I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to start myself a little leader. Alright, and we're coming back over here. And I think we're done with the sewing machine for this week. So let me just give you the full view. There you go. Other than the little tidbits and the mess that makes, taking the paper off the seams, I might be the only one who finds that part relaxing. Like, I actually enjoy taking the paper off. I'm weird like that. I just like to reach right up underneath that seam and grab that paper right on out of there. There we go. Look, I even have my little lint roller that gets up a lot of the pieces if I use a new sheet. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and just open this piece right on up. And I'm just working that seam a little bit. Right here, you're going to feel a little bit of thickness because you have that point coming in right there. So you're going to feel that thickness right there, right? And let's press. Actually, it's easier for me to press this way. Let's see, I have my iron just in between the silk and the wool setting. It's not very hot at all. But I also don't want to warp my pieces either. Okay, so there we are. Isn't that so pretty? Let me grab my little snips and snip this little doodad right there. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Let's take a measurement going this way now. This is measuring exactly 5 inches. Okay? Isn't that fantastic? So at the end of this week, you're going to have 12 pieces that look just like this, and then these can go back in your bin, right? Once you're done with this unit right here. See the star starting to come in? And this is going to be the center of a star, which that's really cool too, right? So 24 sashing units and 12 of these units, right? I have so much sewing left to do. So much. But I'm actually looking really forward to it. All right, everybody. I think that's everything for this week. Just to let you know, like, I am planning on a Zoom, like if you're watching this and it is Friday, May the 17th, I've sent out a Zoom link to everybody. But y'all, for 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks really, my internet has been doo-doo, okay? And, you know, we had a storm come through a couple weeks ago, and ever since, my internet has not been good at all. And last night I was Zooming with everybody on Patreon, and I missed 80% of what was said during that Zoom. And that's really, really, like, heartbreaking to me. So, I'm going to try to Zoom with y'all, okay? And give us some much-needed sewing time this week, and hangout time. And, of course, if you have questions, that's a great place to come to ask, right? But if you're not doing the Zooms with us, jump down to the comment section and leave your question there, or post it over on the Creative Crew, right? That's a great way to ask for help and see everybody's stuff. Y'all, not too many people are using the same colors that I am, right? Many of you have changed out your colors, and it's just so much fun to see all the different variations, right? It's a lot of fun to see. Okay, everybody. I guess I will see you for sure next Friday, and we're going to do clue number 12. And I'm hoping that I don't have these little bins of clues sitting here when I see you next Friday. Okay, everybody, have a fantastic week. Bye.